Concept of Sunnah in the Muwatta of Malik ibn Anas by Mohammed Yusuf Guraya, 1969. Ahl al-ilm bibiladina, the people of knowledge in our region. It may be said that Malik had referred to a particular group of scholars in Medina who agreed with his opinion and claimed consensus on the basis of their agreement. There is indirect reference to such a group of scholars in a letter which Malik wrote to Layth ibn Sa'ad. That is also the opinion of Rabi', which he expressed when he admitted to Shafi'i that when he claimed consensus, he did not mean the consensus of people of Medina as a whole, or the consensus of the whole body of scholars in Medina. Rather, he meant only a group of scholars whom Malik liked. Shah Waliullah also expressed the same opinion, and has said that Malik meant by the consensus only the consensus of some of his teachers. But it would not be correct to infer from this that there was always a particular, specific body of his teachers to whom he always referred in such cases. For we see many differences between Malik and the most venerated authorities, including his teachers. For example, Sa'id ibn Musayyib is one of the most reliable authorities in the Muwatta. Nevertheless, Tabari has recorded that Malik differed with Sa'id ibn Musayyib on 10 essential issues of their day. Tabari has mentioned 10 differences between Malik and Sa'id ibn Musayyib. Perhaps these 10 cases were about the essentials. So far as their differences on the points of details are concerned, their number may naturally be much greater. The view that there was no particular body of scholars to whom Malik referred is supported by numerous examples, but the following one is very clear. The issue is whether a case can be decided in favor of a plaintiff on the evidence of one witness and an oath. There are two groups on this issue among the authorities of Malik. One of them is in favor of the proposition, while the other was against it. Abu Salama ibn Abdurrahman and Sulaym ibn Yasar were in favor. Ibn Shihab, Urwa, Ibn Musayyib, Ibn Qasim and many others were against. Malik favored the opinion of the first group, though it consisted of only two cited persons, and declared, the established practice is that the case will be decided on the evidence of an oath and one witness. Here Malik declared the opinions of Abu Salama bin Abdurrahman and Sulayman bin Yasar to be established practice, and does not pay any attention to the divergence from it by the majority of his authorities. Authorities no less than Ibn Shihab, Urwa, Ibn Musayyib, Qasim, and others. Now this particular example very clearly tells us that there was no particular group of scholars in Medina to whom Malik always referred. Rather, he chose and preferred any opinion on his own accord against others, and excluded any scholar whose opinion he did not like, and included any scholar whose opinion he liked. Further, he declared established sunnah on a particular issue, which in fact was the opinion of a minority of scholars, and which was opposed by the majority of them. Here we find that only two authorities, Abu Salama bin Abdurrahman and Sulayman bin Yasir, agree with the opinion of Malik, and only on the authority of those two personalities, Malik declared that there was an established sunnah on that issue, while the big majority of great authorities held the opposite opinion and differed with Malik. In addition to the authorities referred to above who were against the doctrine of Malik, there is a very interesting point which is made by Shafi'i. Shafi'i discussed in with Rabi' the issues in which he disagreed with Malik. Nevertheless, he had begun the polemics firstly on the issues in which there was agreement between Malik and the Shafi'i, but in which others disagreed with them. In all such cases, Shafi'i addressed Malik and Shafi'i's opponents with the phrase Ba'd al-Nas, i.e. some people. Sorry, no Arabic. A Shafi'i has nowhere specified those who were anonymous, some people were. It seems from the evidence that this anonymous group existed in Medina. No doubt some of the doctrines ascribed to them resemble the doctrines of the Iraqis, but there is enough evidence to support the possibility that such a group did exist in Medina. Shafi'i has applied two terms, one Ba'd al-Nas and the other Ba'd al-Mashrikiyin, some of the Easterners. The latter term can refer to the Iraqis or the school of Abu Hanifa, but the reference of the first terms and the first term is to the group that existed in Medina. There are hints in Al to support this view on page 177 to 183, but the occurrence of this term on page 182 on the discussion of evidence provides enough testimony to establish the point. Here Shafi'i, after quoting a hadith from the Prophet that he decided a case on the evidence of an oath and on one witness, says, we held and we hold this doctrine. He then says, Ba'd al-Nas, some people disagree with us. The people who disagreed with Malik and Shafi'i quote authorities in their support who were purely from Medina. They were Ibn Shihab, Urwa ibn Musayyib, Al-Qasim, and many other successors from Medina, and none of them was from Iraq. Shafi'i has explained that these many other successors were actually the companions of Zuhri ibn Shihab. There is no need to stress the point that Zuhri's companions were from Medina and not from Iraq. That is why we are inclined to conclude that these Ba'd al-Nas, some people, were in Medina. From the evidence under examination, it seems that there were a number of successors in Medina who held the doctrine of the majority of successors, but were not so influential as Malik. Therefore, history does not preserve their names, and they have remained anonymous in the terminology of Shafi'i. It was not probably through personal influence of Malik that the minority of opinion of some successors, Abu Salama bin Abdurrahman and Sulaiman bin Yasir, acquired the status of the established Sunnah of Medina in the terminology of Malik, and that Shafi'i took note of it. Malik says, the practice with us on the issue of al-mustahada, a woman who is continually suffering menstruation or continually menstruating, is the hadith from Hisham ibn Urwa from his father Urwa. Here again Malik has used the term indana, with us, in support of his view on this issue. He has only quoted one authority from Medina, viz., namely Urwa, and has declared very honestly at the end that that was the best he had heard on the question. This shows that it was not the unanimous opinion of the scholars of Medina, rather he chose one personality among the Medinese scholars who agreed with his view and said that that was the practice according to, quote-unquote, him, and that that was the best that he had heard. It was not a mere conjecture that there was only one personality, Urwa, whom Malik quoted in his support. The available evidence suggests that, in fact, it was the case. There were many great authorities in Medina who opposed this view, but Malik did not concur with their opinion and preferred Urwa's opinion over the opinion of all of them. Malik himself quoted Sa'id ibn Musayyib, whose views were contrary to that which he supported. Sa'id ibn Musayyib held that mustahada, the woman who menstruates frequently, should take a bath after every bleeding, which was contrary to the opinion of Urwa, who held that she should bathe only once and then should perform only routine ablutions, purifications for prayer, every prayer. Malik held the latter opinion, and quoting Urwa in his support, declared that the practice with us was accordingly. This example is also an indication of the fact that the claim of consensus in the Muwatta, or the apparent majority opinion in the Muwatta, in most cases is, in fact, arbitrary and a choice of Malik from among other doctrines that were prevalent in Medina. Stay tuned for many more parts.